Hi, my name is Melinda Coletta. This is my husband, Phil Griffin. Together we're Professor Chef, and we teach you how to play with your food. So in tonight's edition of Quarantine Cooking...
What?
Because I know you hate when I say that. We're going to be making Guinness beef stew. Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, so let's talk about ingredients. Stew meat. I butcher a lot of my own tenderloin, so I use that scraps for my stew meat. When you're making something like this, it's called the moist heat cook method. It's called braising or stewing. You can use an inexpensive cut of meat. What the cut of meat you want to get is something that's going to have a good yield to it. Just because you can buy stew meat doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be the best cut of meat, because a lot of times you have to trim the fat. So I like to
So
trim.
what you're saying is the best buy, not necessarily the best cut.
Right. So you could have stew meat that's cheap,
Right.
but it's not the best buy because you get a lot of fat in it.
You have a lot of waste. So, okay.
All right. So in our pan here, we're going to add 1 canola, 2 olive oil.
That's the combination we always use.
We're going to add a little onion.
There you go, and I've got some sizzle on that.
I like that.
And remember, hot pan, cold oil, food won't stick. So that pan was hot before he added the room temperature oil. Should have waited a little bit longer for it to heat up and then add the onions. But this thing's fast. It's an induction burner. So it's quick to heat up.
We're going to get those onions nice and caramelized. And then we're going to add the carrot, then we're going to add the Guinness stew.
And what's your secret to caramelizing them?
Don't touch.
Don't touch. Don't touch the stuff.
I get open up the Guinness.
Oh God. There we
My
go.
toy.
Yeah, I know. It shoots bottle caps.
Pocket?
Crazy. Oh my God.
They're cheap on Amazon. Then you in, and then you press a little button and away it goes.
Don't shoot our camera person. We still need her.
Alright, so we want to let those go a little bit longer, but for the sake of TV, we're going to push them over to the side.
So,
Yeah?
we're not on TV.
For the sake of Facebook Live.
Okay.
Live from New York. Oh, that's Saturday night.
Way under there.
We're going to add the carrots now.
So what he did was he pushed the onions aside, and now he's adding the carrots. And then he'll top the carrots off eventually with some of the onions, and that way you don't have to,
So you take your caramelized onions
and pick them up and put them onto the carrots. So a lot of times when you see a recipe that says take out and reserve and put it, this is one I don't want him to make another mess, so we don't have another plate to clean. This helps us, for me.
So we don't have to. We always say to take out the meat and brown it, and then put it in a separate plate. So we're just moving everything over to the side. The meat's on a paper towel because we want to dry it out.
Because dried protein is going to caramelize better. It's going to get brown faster if it'll brown.
Anything's dry is going to brown better.
Yeah.
So we're making Guinness beef stew.
Yeah.
Okay. The liquid that we get to make this Guinness beef stew is hence Guinness. Right. Julie Child had a recipe called.
But we could use another dark beer.
Right.
Okay. Another stout.
You can use different types of liquid.
Yeah.
Right. So you can use different types of beer. Julia Child had a menu item called beef bourguignon.
That is correct.
So the two differences with beef bourguignon was she started off with bacon and bacon fat.
Yep.
Which I think you could definitely use here.
Yep.
And she didn't use Guinness, she used red wine.
Yeah.
So once you learn how to make one, you can make the other. Another side note from that is chicken coco vin.
Yep.
Chicken coco vin is made with red wine. So instead of taking chicken and beef and beef bourguignon, you put in the chicken.
Right. So keep the red wine.
Yep.
So you see how they all kind of.
So
recipes are just a suggestion sometimes, and you got to take. Sometimes it's like you just want to put your own spin on it, and you do. Normally we do have fresh thyme. I don't know, did the thyme plant make it through the winter?
No, it didn't.
Didn't, okay. But we
Sometimes
don't,
we have time in a bottle.
pray for me, I'm just giving these bad guy jokes. So we're gonna be using dry.
Put it in there, and I want to get it in now because I want it to help wake up, and you can smell it. It's going good. Now, if you want to come over here, Sarah, and take a quick look before I add any liquid or anything else like that, you can see that meat's got a nice brown color to it. The onions are nice and color. So when I put this over, it's brown. I haven't touched it. I can mix everything together. The bottom of the pan there, we get some caramelization. All right. Looks good. So mix it all together. Let it cook. So when I made we have a swap out going, of course. So when I made the original one, I forgot to do this step. So I'm going to show you 2 ways of thickening up your Guinness beef stew tonight.
Yep.
The first way we're going to do is we're going to dust what we have in this pan right here with a little bit of flour. When we dust it with the flour, it's going to pick up any fat and moisture that we have. It's going to make something called a roux.
Yep.
Like a roux.
Like a roux. It's a fake roux.
So what you have to do now is because you put the flour in, you have to cook this. If you do not cook this, it will get starchy, pasty. We don't want a pasty item. I turned the flame down because of the heat, because I don't want it to burn.
Yeah.
Cook it, cook it, cook it.
And I know we said this before, we're cooking on an induction burner. This is equivalent to cooking on gas. And we have an induction range which is faster than gas. And we will never have gas again.
So now what we'll do is we're going to take and add the Guinness to it.
And by adding the Guinness, this is a process called deglazing. So on the bottom of the pan, now he's going to scrape with those metal tongs, he's scraping up all the fronds on the bottom, which are all, I forgot what Emerald calls them, but they're all,
Bonds.
yeah, well now, and he's like, he
Bits
calls
and
them
bobs.
Bits and bobs.
I call them bits and bobs.
And it's all the deliciousness. So now,
if you come over here again, Sal, if you look at this, you can see that this is starting to thicken up already. Okay. So we have 2 ways that we can cook this. Way number 1 is we can put it on the stove, set it to a simmer, and slowly cook it. The other way we can do it is if we have the oven going, we can turn around and put this in the oven. I prefer putting it in the oven because I can turn around and be a little bit lazy.
a long bit lazy.
Right,
So
so
switch it out.
switch it out.
Take care of that.
So now I'm gonna put the other one that we had in the oven back on here. We're gonna get it up to temp. So the way we're gonna thicken this one up is we're gonna thicken this one up with something called a whitewash. Now a whitewash is just nothing, simply just flour and water mixed together. I'm gonna get in trouble, but I'm gonna reference my mother again. My mother had one of those Tupperware containers that they do is now for like protein shakes.
Yeah.
She'd put in the flour, she'd put in the water, and she'd shake it up,
Yeah.
and she'd have her thickening agent. The problem that a lot of people do is when they go to do that, they make it up just before they go to use it.
Right.
You need to make this up a half hour, you need to make it up ahead of time.
We need some time. The flour, anytime we're using flour, we always let it rest for a little bit before we actually use the product because it needs to absorb.
Right, so now this is all boiling. I'm going to pour this in, and because it's all nice and absorbed, then we will not have a lumpy.
No lumps and it won't be starchy either.
Yeah.
You might be okay with that. That looks like it's
No.
No.
A little more. I like it thick.
okay.
Right. This would
Yeah.
not be
You like it a lot
this
thicker
would,
than
this,
I do.
this would not be Johnson and Wales standards. I'd be fired right now.
I fire you every night. Problem is, I just hire you the next
So we
morning.
let that cook a little bit. Gonna lower it down a little bit. Gonna add a little bit of salt. A little bit of pepper. Always season at the end. That way we don't forget about it.
Well, there's another reason too.
We don't want to over concentrate the flavor. And because the Guinness is
What he just said there was over concentrate the flavor, which means if we had put that in ahead of time and tasted the seasoning and it was good, what would happen is as it reduced, it would become saltier.
Alright,
So
so
that's why.
chocolate I just put in there, and why?
Alright, so, we do put a little bit of honey in this, and the reason is Guinness is bitter. So the honey helps it doesn't make the stew sweet, but it brings the bitterness of the Guinness down. And we only use 100% local honey. And who's your beekeeper?
I married my beekeeper.
So we do sell it. We sell it in 1 pound non-BPA plastic containers, and we sell it.
Is that a
$10.
plug?
Yeah, shameless plug. If you mention this video, we'll give it to you for $10 a pound.
Right. So I tasted it. Need a little bit more salt. It's good to go.
Good to go. All right, now let's plate this.
So we had a big discussion about this earlier today.
Discussion?
Yeah. Love you too. I'm so glad I married you.
You tricked me. You told me you had good health insurance.
I did. Alright, so we made some mashed potatoes ahead of time. So we did not put any potatoes in this. And I love the way this plates up. So we take some mashed potatoes.
Go high. Go high.
Alright. How's that?
That looks good. Yeah. So you have to do that. A mountain of mash.
I used the wrong spoon, that's alright. Now we're going to take, and we're going to put
The moat of Guinness beef stew. So I wanted to do this in a smaller plate, but he insisted on doing it in
Now,
this
we have a
huge-
very big plate. What people don't realize is you don't have to fill to the edge of the plate, you fill to the edge of the rim.
Look how big this is, okay? If you can see my hand, it's a monster plate. Oh my God. Sometimes.
Wait a minute. I got very few drops on there. I'm
Yeah.
thinking I'm doing extremely.
you're doing
I'm
better
doing
than
really
you-
well what I normally do.
You are doing better than you normally do. Anyway, and actually, if we had fresh thyme,
Yeah.
I'd put a little sprig of fresh thyme on that, and I think it's good to go.
Then
So-
you just grab a lid of potato, you grab a lid of the meat.
I think you're proud of yourself.
Mhm.
Yeah, happy dance. Okay, you good? All right. So next week, I didn't have too much input into next week's menus.
So next week
Just
is
saying.
next week, the whole entire week is a very important week. There's a lot of holidays next week. Some people don't realize they're not the holidays, but they are holidays.
Yeah.
So Monday,
Hang on.
one of my favorite days, is May the 4th be with you. So May 4th.
Yeah.
So we have
Yeah.
to do a Star Wars theme.
Yeah.
Now I was thinking about this one, and there's not a lot of food items in Star Wars. I could do roasted.
Cinnamon buns.
No, that's not food. Right? The only time I've seen any.
She had cinnamon buns. Princess Leia had cinnamon buns.
But it's so we could do roasted pork, right? You guys remember Chewie eating the pork, or you could. I'm going into the Mandalorian season. We could have done frog legs, but I don't think anybody wanted to do that.
Yeah.
So we're doing Star Wars like theme party type deals.
This is a reach.
It is a reach, but I saw it. It is Meatless Monday, so we're doing Jabba the Hutt. Come on,
Can you remember?
hummus, and we're gonna probably try to make some lightsabers also.
With pretzel
With
rods
pretzels.
and chocolate. I'm sorry.
It's just
I-
it's a good
Keep
trick.
going.
The hummus is actually really good. All right,
It's
so
good, but it just doesn't.
Tuesday,
Yeah.
Cinco de Mayo.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we are doing. Get this now. We're gonna do quesadillas,
Yeah.
but because we have a very unique population in this area, we're
Yeah.
gonna do chorizo quesadillas.
Yeah. So we're marrying the
Portuguese
with the Mexican
Mexican population.
Okay.
All right, Wednesday, we're gonna be doing muffins.
And are we going to be using the Jordan Marsh recipe?
We probably gonna use the Jordan Marsh recipe for is blueberries, but we're gonna show you how to
How
take
to-
that recipe and make like 5 or 6 different muffins with it.
Okay.
Thursday is going to be curry.
Yeah.
We're gonna make our own garam masala. and we're gonna be doing Singapore noodles with that.
Which I gotta say is one of his really good dishes. It's my
Be-
favorite.
And because Sunday is Mother's Day,
Yeah.
we are going to do a roasted pork tenderloin with an apricot glaze.
Okay.
Okay, and you got a note here to say,
Oh.
click the subscribe button on YouTube.
Yep.
And she's updated everything. Pretty much all has recipes now.
Right. So when this video is over, we're going to take it down off of Facebook. We put them up onto our YouTube channel with the recipe. So hit that subscribe button. That's way over here, and then there's an upside down triangle right underneath the box where the film is. And if you click on that, the description opens up, and it will have the recipes for you. So until next week, until Monday, live at 5.
We forgot to tell them what's happening on Saturday.
Oh my God. So if you're a local, Wicked Tulips, we know them and we love them. And we're going to be down at their new location in Exeter at the old Sharpner Farms. And we're going to be making a salad with the raspberry vinaigrette with tulip petals. And we're also going to try to tempura fry the tulip petals. Yes, tulip petals are edible and they all taste different.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll see you. We'll see you Saturday.
Maybe.
Maybe.
All right.
Bye
Have a
bye.
good weekend. Bye.